Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? This is Young Phoenix House broadcasting from our lovely couch. Tonight we'll be doing number 894 in the Kingdom of Heaven. We'll just be showing with you a couple of clips, and hopefully there will be no technical errors. We'll see.
Okay. I see I go 13 dollars.
So this is just the opening of the piece.
It's cold as fuck. You move the mouse.
I have to take mom to the doctor. She's got to.
Okay.
I'll be down here Thursday night. I'm staying for the night. Tonight?
No.
Which one? I've never been in that place, sure.
Okay.
I've heard. I've never been there, so sure.
Okay, so mine just turned.
That's the opening, and then there's like a 20-minute monologue that we don't need to watch because the beauty starts apparently 12 minutes and 40 seconds in. That's not fair. It's all beautiful, but.
I'm sorry, I just had to correct you.
Can I not have like 5 minutes without your shit coming? Just like 5 minutes.
What? It was your technique?
It's not right now. Okay, I'm not in the mood.
So sorry.
5 minutes.
Oh, all right, fine. I'll leave you alone. I'm just saying.
No, 5 minutes.
Yes, it was like half an hour. It's not my fault you can't tell time. Jinky. Nice. Thank you.
No, this is time. I will rip your throat from your neck and wear it as a scarf. I will use your intro to skip rope.
I need those.
Shut up! I will murder you, Sonny. Right in this room where no one will ever find you.
You guys keep it down.
I will pick up the phone and I will continue practicing without any interruption because you won't be there to stop me. You know why?
Because I'll be dead.
Because you'll be dead.
I expect you to get this because you're young. But older men such as myself just uncomfortable relationships have moved this fast.
Shut up! Quiet down!
Watch how you speak to me. I'm a great stage equal to heaven.
Great Buddha stage my ass, Sonny. You're nothing. You're stuck here with us and nobody likes you. You're just a child who just pushing and pushing and pushing until no one can carry you anymore. Do you think a real
I am a real Buddha.
Come on. You're stuck here with me, and I'm stuck here with you.
I'm a god! How dare you!
You're a monkey, Sonny. You're a monkey.
Shut up! I can't do this anymore. You win. 真的吗？I can't take it anymore. I'm tired. 啊，我理解。可是你记得我必须问你一个小问题，对吗 ？Go ahead. 谁下去讲？
Like woman boobs?
You are the better player. You win. Oh shit! Jeez!
So, look like now. 384 KC, 312.
Oh no, 311. We both.
No, you said you want to play Martinez instead.
We both agree on Martinez.
Who's in here?
Let me tell
Ah,
you.
go, Why don't I want to play Martinez?
对啊，我认识他比你玩这个他cheesy 的游戏。
See?
Whatever. So, John, does that mean that who is now the current reigning champion? I'm not! Screw you guys.
So, it's 364 to 100. Which means Kitty's the champion above.
Whoa, hold up. Let's put it on you.
No. I'm doing that. I already asked.
对啊，我们已经安排好了。Really? Fine, but I'm next. What do we got? Another train going in Chongqing. Jay Chow and his marriage troubles? 我真的不理解他们两个人的关系啊，这他帅了。
You're right. He's way too good for her.
And how long has invited us to his 12,037th birthday power? Sweet, let's go!
It's like the two shoes of all the season.
Plus it says here the Venus. Pretty pink. I mean, at least we're being invited to his parties now. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, you dragons haven't exactly what? You know, gotten along since. Dude, that was ages ago. Plus, they only killed like one of my sons. Hey, I'm on your side. This is shit awful. Can we stop talking about this, please?
Is it just me or like?
You guys want to pop by at least?
Even if we say we're going to go after him, I don't know if he's good for like ever.
Plus, they don't even know it's again. Like, they don't even know it's playing. A new son? I just think we should go out, guys. You know, shake things up. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got this feeling something special is going to happen soon. And it's either going to come to us, or we got to go out there and find it. Come on, you guys, what's happened to you? You could show up at crash today or something. Great plan, son. Kill his son. Crash his party. Gotta go that well. Oh, little baby Naja really walk away from this. Baby Naja had to kill himself at the age of 7 in order to stop his parents from getting hurt. So I don't know if he's the right one to ask. Alright then. I guess I'll just go myself. Yeah, I will. Let's just start getting ready. I'm walking toward the door now. I'm opening the door. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, would you look at that? Right here. Okay. Right here. 200 of them.
Gotcha.
If they see it, then they know.
What? I'm a food out there.
How do you all do it?
Oh, my apologies for the state of this family. We haven't exactly had this in a while.
I can see. Terrible what's happened to them. Isn't it?
Yes, I am. Jay Chow is just such a nice man. You'll love the best friend.
They're going with some shit.
Yes, of course. That too.
You may all rise. I'm sure you're all wondering what I, Guan Yin, the Jade Emperor's most trusted imperial administrator, I'm doing here, standing before you?
No, we have no idea why you, Don Yin, the Jade Emperor's most trusted imperial administrator, are doing here.
Is he always like this?
Mostly, yes. But please, do tell us why you've come.
Special request. A request from the Jade Emperor himself. Really? Yes. As shocking as it may be, he clearly wants something from this.
But what if it not?
The Emperor has selected a human from the mortal realm to join us in the kingdom of heaven, and we would like him to stay in this chamber.
The new roommate? Sweet!
The Emperor specifically requested he stay here in chamber 894. But see, I must ask if you're willing to accept this responsibility. You are, of course, welcome to receive the request of the Jade Emperor, supreme ruler of the realms of heaven and earth, Taoist master, and Boucher, bringer of light, and master of the 64 heavenly disciplines, the grand celestial stage.
We humbly accept the responsibility, Guan Yin.
Excellent! I'll bring him in.
Guys, this is what I'm talking about, this is the thing!
I can't believe we're bringing you roommate!
Oh no, it was like just yesterday when you came to.
我希望他是一个性感的白富美。
Ah, that's real.
Alright guys, need your help. Alright, he's still asleep, but he'll be waking up soon. When he does, he may be a bit disoriented at first, but I assure you he'll settle down quickly. Just make sure to be kind and gentle, and make him feel at home, alright? Let's bring him out.
Alright guys, here we go.
What is he
Please. White.
Well, I'm so very sorry. Should I expect to be anything?
Sorry, Guan Yin, but surely the most some kind of mistake. Isn't he a little too foreign for the game?
I assure you that this is the master accent.
But he's white!
The Jade Emperor has made no mistake, Pasha. Now, if you have any objections, I can come to take it down to the Jade Emperor himself and see how he reacts to your examination. Would you like that? Very well then, goodbye. And one more thing, keep your face up.
Keep this place up? That's what you said? Oh. What you said? Keep your face up.
Get it up. So white guy in Chinese heaven.
Okay.
Shit, did we never know? We're gonna eat it. We're gonna.
Did you say we're not gonna eat them?
No, you can't be serious.
What choice do we have, dude? We can't eat the Jade Emperor's gift.
You didn't even take his shoes off the door.
Look, I know he's different, but we just have to accept it. I mean, you both people have the most experience in white men, don't you?
I know. That's why I want him here.
Ooh, I'm not having this debate. I'll go get the garlic!
This is what we have to look forward to.
Hold it up yet. Oh, come on, Boo, please. I really need you to do this. You're the youngest here, so you at least know what it's like.
I lost Earth in 1984, Nata. Do you know how long ago that was?
7 years. 200 years, wait. 2,000 years ago?
Okay, in your defense, I don't know either, but see?
It doesn't matter how long you've been caught.
No!
Boo, please.
No means no! Alright? I don't want to have anything to do with this. I know you to the three of you, but that's different. This guy is...
Boo, please. I know you don't want to, but we... Look. Sunny and I aren't like you. We kill demons. That's why we're here. We have absolutely no experience. I mean, the last lawyer I've met is my mom. I don't think something's ever actually met. So if we put his torso in this big guy and his other 4 limbs and go this little guy and what's going on? We literally spent their entire life on these. Please don't let us next.
We're not doing something. Okay, so I left here quite a while ago, so I don't know what to expect when I got it, but I can try and give you my passport somewhere. First of all, cheese. White people love this thing called cheese. Cheese. Love this salty milk. They put it on everything they eat.
That's horrifying.
They love it. They eat it on its own. They make sticks out of it. They make meals out of it. Everything. Tell me, go to the pantry and see if you got it. Next, we can't let something sleep.
What?
Morals are very easily frightened, you guys. If studies are talking about all the demons he brutally murdered, he's gonna freak out.
Alright, keep an eye on it.
Okay, next, he must think that Jesus is here in heaven.
Jesus.
Waters, wine, long hair.
He has to believe Jesus is here.
Alright. We're talking about Jesus. Just make sure it's Oh, Kira. No.
What was that?
So let's see. Let me see if I can.
Is this offers for the red shine still on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, boy.
So we got fresh made bread. So this this production is called Number 894 in the Kingdom of Heaven. And it's basically
It's an apartment.
yeah. So it's an apartment in the realm that is Chinese heaven.
Uh-huh.
And like the briefest crash course in Chinese mythology, the Jade Emperor. So there's like humans, and then there's spirits, and then there's demons, and then there's good spirits and ancestors and gods, and then there are people above the gods, and eventually you get up to the very tippy top, and there's the Jade Emperor, who's like master over everything. The Emperor said, "Here, you're going to get a new roommate," and it was this white kid from California. This entire production was made by teenagers. And by that I mean no one in it, nobody who wrote it, nobody who directed it, nobody who designed for it was over the age of 16. The people performing it, the musicians, everything was written by 16-year-olds.
Wow.
And so...
That's why it was a little terrible.
Yeah, that explains it.
But like a little bit.
A little bit.
But
But otherwise.
But it's also some of the best, I wouldn't say the best theater that I've seen, but it's some of the most original work that I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, like, everything about the play so far that I've seen is really the makeup, the set,
Right, and
the music, and the costume,
16.
and the content is funny.
Oh my god.
And then they're
It's just the acting is.
it's unpolished, right? Like
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, when I first started, I was told repeatedly, over and over and over again, you are not an artist until you've been doing it for 40 years.
No.
I should specify. It was actor. I think it's a Stanislavski quote.
No,
Like,
master.
you like the big guy. Essentially, the Freud of theater is what I've come to
That
call
is
him.
Stanislavski.
It's Stanislavski. He was a nut. He wasn't right about anything, but he was the first to try, and that I applaud him for. So that's why I take everything he says with a grain of salt. But everyone that I knew took it as doctrine. And one of the things he very famously said was, "It takes 40 years to be an actor." And I think that's nice. Like it has a powerful message behind it, and it's important to consider when like the craft of it. Kids were doing this work at 16, and like that blows me away. I go,
It's pretty dope.
Like, would anyone say that they are not artists?
Right. Dang, that's impressive. Right? This is really funny too.
Makes me feel like I haven't done anything.
What the fuck was I doing in high school?
Exactly.
Well, yeah. What were we doing? What was the thing that you guys were doing?
West Side Story.
West Side Story.
And choir.
Oh,
The harp vocal was fun, so
that's great.
I'm not ashamed.
I was in like 3rd grade chorus.
3rd grade chorus.
I was in 3rd grade chorus until my sisters shamed me into never singing again. To be fair, they had help. My mom would call us all in to like perform during like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we used to do like choral stuff. And then eventually they were like, Miles, your voice isn't quite good enough. So then just the girls would perform.
Aww.
So I got really good at acting. And I just kind of let like the singing fall by. I was like, you guys sing. I'll get good at this thing.
That's funny.
So that's why, I look back at this and I'm like, oh, like, how quaint. They're so rough. But then I go like the opening sequence, the one that was like, oh my God, what are they doing? Like what, did anybody get anything from that opening sequence?
Yeah, it was like, it sort of set it up perfectly because it's like, okay, we've got this traditional thing going, this, what is it, Chinese culture?
Yeah.
It's like Chinese thing going on, but then, oops, no, not quite. Boom, 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 not quite.
A little bit of rock and roll.
So it really set it up nice. It was like a nice prologue to what was actually gonna happen. Because like I saw her sitting on the thing where like not geisha, goddamn, what's it called?
Meditate. I like barely know her name.
I feel like I knew the name of that garb, but whatever. She's got her little traditional dress on. She's like sitting. I'm like, oh, she's about to like, oh, millions of years ago. Blah, 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 blah. Nope. Can I have fucking 5 minutes? That was real cool.
It's all available online.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole production. Yeah, it's I think it's full disclosure for anybody, I'm pretty sure it's like a private link, but it's like freely shared online. Like you can find it.
Yeah.
So
I'm always a fan of that. Like, oh, like just don't tell anyone. Okay.
I'm like, okay, fine. And now international organization. Fuck it. You guys are brilliant. I love it.
Is this like a?
I think they are, like, that's the thing. I don't know very much about it outside of like what they've done, what they've publicized. But yeah, it's essentially I think it's a performing arts high school is what eventually conceived to make this.
It's not an emporium, right?
It's what? Oh no, I don't think so. I'd love it. Like the amount of diversity in this cast is amazing.
Right.
Just like, I mean, they have East Asians, they have Chinese, Japanese players, they have South Asian. Like there's clearly a girl with some sort of Indian descent. There's obviously the white kid who I think is actually British.
Yeah.
When you hear him start talking. There was a couple weird ones. The kid in the dress. I can't remember his name, but he actually has a couple osks thrown in there, and I don't know if they're affectations or not. Like he has a round osk, and I don't know why he does it with the rest of his dialect. So I'm wondering if he's picking up the British, or if he just thinks that's how actors talk.
Could be if English isn't his first language, he might have just picked up like any sound.
I'll be back.
All right, you guys have now? Are those Oreos? I won't ask. I need them.
You don't need them.
I don't need them. I don't need them. Enjoy. So what'd you think?
I think it's really cool. I think it sets up an interesting world where the Chinese culture is like this is the normal of the realm. So the white kid comes in and everything about him is odd, is strange, is foreign.
Right?
It's a cultural reversal that I think we're seeing more and more of now. This idea that whiteness, that particularly Americanness, is not the default.
Yeah. You brought up a couple of points that I actually want to addressed, and I don't want to miss any of them. So this idea of the inversion of the narrative, that it's not foreign that's strange or dangerous, but it's this idea of whiteness. So the kind of I'll say white narrative has been kind of normalized, by virtue of simply colonization, things like that. And so you get, so that's easy to think of. You think of things like Dracula. It's all about these foreign East European, like that's how far the foreign had to be, was
Right.
East Europe and Europe. Like we're not even, eventually they were like, oh, and the coast of Africa, and then Australia. Eventually, actually, if you read early United States literature, the early frontier stuff, the United States stuff, was also that idea of in stories like Wieland. One of the first great American novels was a story about the frontier and how dangerous and almost supernatural it was in this time of enlightenment and reason. But that being said, that's where the narrative, I won't say originally was, but that's where we've kind of held it to, right? We're getting this inversion. Can you think of any other stories where whiteness is the other, or where whiteness is this kind of dangerous other? But it is the where we have a normal world, a normal narrative that is non-white.
The first thing that's coming to mind for me is Los Vendidos.
So can you unpack that a little, because our audience may not know.
Yes.
Los Vendidos. Oh, I wonder if we can get closer to the mic as well.
Los Vendidos is a Chicano play. A recognized Chicano woman comes in looking for like an appropriate Mexican for a politician to sort of parade around as a figure, like look at how culturally diverse I am, but look, I have friends who are people of color, that kind of thing. So there's the salesman, and then 3 models of Mexican Americans who are for sale. And it's really interesting because in it, it's the stereotypes of Mexican culture, the romantic, the dirty farmhand, the revolutionary, and in it, like this faceless white politician is the odd one. They just don't understand him. He's, well, I get why he's doing it, but no. It's a cultural commentary on the way white people use minorities, use people of color.
Which is interesting, because now we have that came out in the, I want to say 80s. It might be earlier.
I can look it up. I want to say that's 60s. I want to say that was happening around
60s and 70s.
The Chicano farm movement.
Yes. That sounds like it would be a thing. So you have this kind of contemporary movement, and like contemporary in the terms of human civilization. Last 50 to 100 years is what?
1967.
1967.
Here's the Detroit Rebellion.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure we can unpack that. They're probably not actually related, but they're not interrelated at any rate. But they could be related. Who knows? Point being, there are a number of stories that are coming to light, coming to surface, and are challenging this idea of narrative of white normalcy and the foreign other, and kind of inverting that or finding different ways. There are also people like Susan Laurie Parks, who creates a kind of black normalcy, a kind of black society as the norm, and there is no white other. Completely devoid of it. She's actually one of my favorite theatrical theoreticians because of that, because she basically says that there are black stories that are compelling enough that don't require a white other or a white villain. Powerful, very moving idea. It's essentially what Susan Laurie Parks does. It's what August Wilson does, is create stories of just a black world that doesn't have to live or survive under the pretense of the white. So there's this huge influx of these stories, and I think this is absolutely a part of it. Now, is there anything that sets this particular story apart or makes it special or unique?
They're uncomfortable with him at first, but I don't think there's an inherent him being the enemy.
Yeah.
Which I think is sometimes different.
Mm-hmm.
You get shows that are primarily minorities or people of color versus the norm.
I want to expand on that and qualify it a little bit more. But part of that is actually understanding what the situation is. So we've had a couple of questions about what the actual situation is. I think we've addressed a few of it, but just to be really explicit, they're essentially 4 immortals. They're not gods, they're immortals. For example, Sunny is actually Son Goku, who is a very revered, very popular, infinitely popular character in Chinese culture. If you've ever watched Dragon Ball Z and you know who Goku is, forget it. You go back 20 years, you know what Dragon Ball, you know who Goku is, then you know Sunny. Just infinitely prideful, ambitious, super insanely powerful, but ultimately very kind and very committed to his friends and family. He's literally a monkey. He's literally the grand narrative is called The Monkey and the Monk, where the monkey eventually becomes Buddha, becomes schooled in the schools of Kung Fu, becomes so powerful that he actually challenges the Jade Emperor. It's a remarkable story of the humblest of creatures becoming essentially a god. In fact, more than a god, which is why I use the term these characters, because some of them are demons. Lu is actually a fox demon who in Japanese mythology and some Chinese mythology, if I remember right, can become female in shape. Pig is actually one of Sunny's companions on his trip. He takes a pig companion along with him. And I'm not sure who the other character is, to be honest with you, but he's like 6,000 years old. So he's much older. Comes from a much older tradition, a much more magical past. Point being, all of these people are in this space. One cell in the entirety that is the kingdom of heaven. So heaven, as we understand it in Judeo-Christianity, is just one cell in the entirety that is Chinese mythology. Chinese mythology is so over-encompassing that it actually allows for other religions. There could be some things to be said about that. We don't have to go into it, but I think it could be interesting. The fact that Judeo-Christianity and some other Western religions tend to be very exclusionary, say, this one is the one. And then you have kind of East Asian traditions, which kind of say, hey, maybe you're not all right, but you're all kind of included under this large umbrella, is one of the points that they make later on in the show. Point being, we mentioned this idea of enemy, white, other. What can he do to them in this space?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he has no power. here. He's a mortal man surrounded by powerful immortals. Their home turf.
And yet somehow they're still afraid. Like I always come back to that fact that what you said is exactly the situation, and they're still concerned that he is a presence.
I mean, I think it's a fear for the space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a how to put this delicately. There seems to be a mentality in a large number of white people that spaces will inherently become accommodating to them. Spaces are not allowed to exist of their own volition, their own validity. Person walks in.
Yeah, but that's how it is for everybody.
That's not how it is for everybody.
No, but that's how it is for everybody. So that's the. But point being, I'm being very aggressive because I feel like I know the answer, but I want to highlight to the level of farce so that we can actually see and talk about this, because that is a powerful. I won't use the P word. It's privilege. I won't use that word, but I'll say it's very indicative of the perception, a different P word, of a majority or a ruling class to say, this is how it is because that's how I've always experienced it. Not be, because there are plenty of spaces that I assume are whatever, and we don't have to be so concerned about whiteness. It's just literally the part of this, but all male places and spaces, all straight spaces and places. The alternative is true or made by a minority or a non-ruling class. It suddenly becomes this war. Can you think of any examples? I know I can. There's one that immediately pops into my head.
Okay. One thing that has been knocking around in some of my group chats with some of my queer friends is the idea that gay clubs are safe spaces for straight women. But straight women get offended when they are hit on at a gay or LGBTQA plus club, a space that is meant for a minority. And don't get me wrong, I understand that straight women want to go clubbing and not be aggressively.
You're not talking about being so they yes, sorry, I don't mean, I just want to qualify it, because you're not talking about so the straight women want to go to these clubs because they are labeled or branded for whatever reason by whomever as safe spaces for them, but they're not getting hit on by, I'll say, their regular clientele of effectively straight men. They're just getting hit on by queer or gay identified persons. Like, yes. They're just getting hit on. And
the complaint is by straight women that, like, you shouldn't assume that
just because I'm in this space.
Just because I'm in this space means that so it's space, a safe space, something that was meant to be a safe space that was welcoming, that said, we understand, what you're going through. We understand that fear. Okay, you can come in, but like, this is our space. And now it's being demanded that spaces be changed to accommodate people who the space was not meant for.
And it's so interesting because the I word is always fun. Intersectionality. If you don't know it, look it up. It's a beautiful, brave new world for anybody who doesn't know the word. But intersectionality means that there are crossroads of intersections of oppression, of liberation even. But the idea is that there are spectrums or dynamic relationships that get set up. I just came from a reading today, where we talked about how a black man dating a white woman is different than a white man dating a black woman. Because the idea is there's a spectrum of, let's say, oppression, and if there's I won't say a ruling class, but if there is a more privileged class, a more what was the word that you were saying? Accommodated class, then it would be whiteness and maleness, and then there are other things like straightness. Just go on ad infinitum. The point being, the more you identify, the more complex the relationships become. So at the most accommodated is the white man, followed by something like the white woman, and then beneath that is blackness, is less accommodated, but then recognizing that the black man was more accommodated than the black woman. Basically had that cross section. The idea was a white woman slumming with the black male character, and then the white male character, the black woman, was essentially elevating herself. So he was perceived as culturally relevant, and I don't know, the dynamics were interesting because there was that idea that even though their races and the relationship were identical, if you stepped back and looked at them, I say objectively, but the subjective experience of those people with those given two intersections, regardless of all of the other things that they absolutely are, they're very good characters. I recommend the play. It's One or The Only Difference, I think is what it's called. Part of the New Works Festival out in Detroit. At Out Visible Theater. I forget where I was going with this. Point being, there are intersections of accommodation, of privilege, of oppression that occur, and they can positively or negatively impact it. I forget the original point. Where were we at?
I'm talking about straight women and
clubs. Oh, Hamilton. Hamilton auditions is what I was thinking of. Did you not hear about this?
Oh, that they asked for people of color?
They asked for people of color specifically designed for them.
Yeah.
What happened?
They were told that was racist.
They were told it was racist.
It's not racist if your thing says all races and then asks for blonde, fair-skinned, and thin, but like
there's only one, and that's the thing. Kate brings up a very interesting point. You can, if you just tweak the words, you say everyone can apply, but you're right, fair skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, like there's only a couple of people that can just thread that needle. And I guarantee you where they're going to pull from first. I guarantee you where the casting couch is going to go. Not the casting couch. That's another thing. Where the casting director will look first and foremost. Oh, I'm going to have to edit this. I'm not going to edit it. It's going live. Yeah. Cool. What else? What else? I mean, we only watched like, what, 10, 20 minutes of it.
Keep yawning.
Keep yawning? You sleepy?
Yeah.
You sleepy?
I'm sleepy.
You done?
Am I done?
Or well, yeah, like we can. This is our show. We can do with it what we want. We can end it if we like.
I don't know. I like it so far. So far.
Wow.
It's been a long day.
Okay.
I'm intrigued to see more. Some of the things you've told me about it have made me apprehensive.
Oh.
Like
what?
Like he can't learn her name.
Yeah, I was really excited to get to that part. So I don't know. Maybe we can restart it, but I think we'll probably just go and watch it on our own. Please watch it on your own. Follow the links down in the description. It's a phenomenal piece. If you get the chance, please do. But yeah, so there's a later part where the white male character cannot pronounce the person who with the hair pieces. The hair pieces, dressed like a girl. They keep saying it's a girl. It's not a girl. It's a man dressed in female garb, which again is interesting because it's literally part of the mythology and it's part of their culture. And they even inside of their culture, like there's so many things that are just fascinating about the way they deal both inside their own space and how having it introducing a white foreigner to it just throws everything for a loop. You could talk for days about it, but he can't that character's name right. They can't get his name right. It's something like Bill, and they're like Bill. Like they can't get it right.
It's Eric.
Is it Eric?
I want to say you told me it was Eric.
Maybe it's Eric. I don't know. I don't know his name yet. We haven't learned his name yet. But yeah, his name is almost unpronounceable to them, but they work hard until they get it right. And then he turns around and he gets introduced to them and he can't say their name right. So he works hard, but not as hard as them, because eventually he just scraps it and says, okay, your name is, it's like Shirley. And he's like, why would you call me that? Why is it Shirley? And he goes, because you're a girl. It's a girl's name. You're dressed like a girl, therefore you're a girl. He's like, I'm not a girl. And it becomes this really explosive thing. I think he eventually learns, but through like character development stuff, but it just shows a difference in how they engage with something so fundamental as introductions. The white male kid can't be bothered to learn their names. And they can't really be bothered to learn his, but they try. But he's the one who gets to rename someone else. And it's so fascinating to me that he would even think that's okay. Your name isn't important. So, yeah, we like, so personal story time. And I want to get your beat on that again. But like when I was a kid, I had someone cleaning our house. She was from Estonia. You know, she was a lovely woman. She was absolutely wonderful. She was working her way through college, recently married. She actually left a number of years ago. I think she went back. But her name was all but unpronounceable. So she said. So we were never told her name. She asked us to call her K. Just K. Because it was the first letter of her name, and that's what United Statesers, I'm trying not to say Americans, but that's what people from the United States, that's all they could say. That's all that they could do. And so to simplify it, she just said, call me K. I never even got to know her name. I knew this woman for years, and I never got to know her name. And that always really frustrated me. I said, trust me, I will work on it. I'll get it someday. And she just said, no, it's okay. You can't. And that was really upsetting for me that I never got to, like, to this day, I don't know her other than K. I wouldn't even know who to write. It's just K.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my personal share. What do you think about any of it?
I think names are really important.
Oh yeah.
there's power in a name, as cliche as it is. And to rob someone of their name for your own convenience is a great insult and a great injury in my eyes. I have a friend from Albania, and at the church she played piano for, they decided her name was too hard to pronounce, so they called her Claire. Nothing like her name. Nothing like it. And one day I went to this church with her, where she was playing the piano, and I called her by her name, and one of the women at the church said, "Oh, I keep forgetting that's your name. I keep forgetting your name's not Claire." And that horrified me. I think about having to give up my name convenience. I think about how angry I get when people mispronounce my last name. My last name is Martinez. It's pretty standard, but I've been called Martinez. I've been called Martin.
You get upset when people call you by a nickname.
How do you mean?
What's your name?
Martinez.
Your whole name is like Kate Martinez, right?
Yeah.
You do not accept, mispronunciation, but I don't know anyone who does, Martins or whatever. But like even extensions of your name. So you don't like shortening of your name. You don't like Katie, Catherine. I can't think of many versions of your name that you accept outside of I am Kate Martinez. Like your legal name is Catherine, right?
Yeah.
So you could ostensibly have anything, but you have chosen Kate. Like that is your, what do we do as performers? We pick a brand. Mine was kind of given to me. I don't like until I finally take that daring plunge and get my name changed. Mine is Miles Boucher. There's really nothing to change about it. Send it, but it wouldn't mean anything. I could go by my middle name, which I'll never tell.
I want to tell my middle name.
Never do that. That's tempting fate. She doesn't know it. She thinks she does, but she doesn't. Never tell anyone.
It's on his master's degree.
It's probably not. I didn't see my master's degree until this year. You won't accept anything but the name you choose. That's the point. Won't accept a name other than you choose. And that's cool. You defend the crap out of that.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I don't know. I feel like we should plug at this point. Leave a comment if you have a name. Leave a comment if you feel strongly about your name. Talk about things that have meaning about names and your stories and share them. And we would love to hear them.
Yeah. Leave a comment if anyone has ever tried to make you change your name.
Yes.
It and refuse to learn the correct pronunciation.
We can share these stories all night, but I have a French last name, Boucher. Nobody gets that out of the bag unless they happen to know a lot of French people. And I'm always surprised because literally for the first 20 years of my life, that never happened. Now I think that says something because I spent 20 years in Rhode Island, but that's another story. Yeah, share your stories. Let us know down in the comments below. And once again, that's number 894 in the Kingdom of Heaven. Just follow the description down. We might watch the rest of it. We might not. It's getting kind of late. But we hope you again soon. I'm going to walk over here. Take care. Have a great night. Bye for now.